Hey, thanks for tuning in. I'm Serena,
I'm Victoria.
and this is our podcast, Femme Noir. It's a podcast where we basically talk about movies centered around women. So we're going to talk about movies that are written by women, movies that are directed by women, or movies starring women.
Okay, now I have to read off of something, so ignore the fact that I'm not looking. Ignore the fact that I'm reading. Okay. Uh, so every episode we'll be giving our first impressions of the film based on the trailer and our first watch of the movie, and then break down the film and discuss notable scenes, things that worked well or worked against the themes of the film. Later, Serena will break down costuming and clothing style in a little fashion corner. Afterwards, we'll discuss if, how, and when the film passes the Bechdel test. And if you aren't familiar with the Bechdel test, then don't worry. I'll explain more in detail later on. Finally, we'll give our final scores, 10 stars being a perfect film needing no improvements, 5 stars being a flawed movie but still watchable to where if it came on again, we wouldn't mind it, and 1 star being should have kept it in the drafts, should have kept it on the cutting room floor. And we'll end with similar movies that we would recommend if you enjoyed this movie and some other films by the director. So the movie that we're discussing today is Wonder Woman 1984, which came out last year in 2020 because it's 2021 now, written by Dave Callahan, Jeff Johns, and Patty Jenkins, and directed by Patty Jenkins, starring Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman, Chris Pine as her love interest, Steve Trevor, Kristen Wiig as Diana's coworker Barbara, and Pedro Pascal as the supervillain Maxwell Lord. The film follows Diana, aka Wonder Woman, adjusting to life in the year 1984, where she becomes... Oh, cut that out. The movie follows Diana, aka Wonder Woman, adjusting to life in the year 1984, where she comes across her past love Steve and 2 new foes, Max Lord and the Cheetah. Thank you, IMDb, for that synopsis. I just reworked it a little bit. So we can start off with first impressions. I don't know if you saw the trailer before watching this movie, because I didn't.
I did. I saw it a couple times.
Couple times.
I was excited because when it was like supposed to come out last year, I was still working at a movie theater, so we got the trailer really early and got to see it because we have to like know all the movies that are coming out.
Right.
So we had to watch it pretty early on, and I was pretty excited. I like the first Wonder Woman. But yeah, I think like initially I was like, yes, I'm so excited for this, and I think everyone else that I knew was also like so excited to see this one.
I forgot, now that you mention it. Yeah, it was supposed to come out last June, and I did see a trailer for it, like, on accident. I think we went to, like, some movie like that, like, previous Christmas, like Christmas 2019, and they were playing the trailer, like, that early. I completely forgot. I forgot all about the trailer.
Yeah, they came out with it so early.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it feels like this movie, like, obviously it just came out, like, Christmas. Was it Christmas Day or was it, like, the week of Christmas?
Christmas Day.
I don't actually remember. Christmas Day.
Mm-hmm.
But it, like, I actually forgot that it was supposed to come out, like, in the summer of 2020.
It's kind of interesting because I was watching an interview, or I didn't watch the interview, actually. It was a written interview with Andy Samberg for Palm Springs, which came out on, also in the summer, I think July, and it was premiered on Hulu and, like, select drive-in theaters, but he was saying how it was almost kind of... like beneficial for like that film Palm Springs and other streaming films that those bigger name films were getting pushed, because then they didn't have to compete, because then if Wonder Woman came out like around that same time, then definitely, because Palm Springs is kind of getting like award circuit buzz, like they're really pushing for it, Hulu is, and they would not have a chance if Wonder Woman had come out when it did. It totally would have overshadowed it.
That would have been really sad, actually. That would have made me sad, because that's a great movie, and I think it does, deserve the buzz that it's getting.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Totally. And it is kind of, like, interesting, too, that they really flipped the way it was marketed, Wonder Woman, because it was definitely, at first, just, like, a superhero movie and that kind of stuff. But it became HBO Max's selling point. Like,
they really, like, held back, because I get most of my, like, movie advertisements and, like, what's coming up, what's coming out, from Instagram. So... I don't remember seeing anything on my like Instagram feed about Wonder Woman until way closer. And then when I did see stuff about Wonder Woman like closer to the end of last year, 2020. Ugh, I can't believe it's January. Um, it wasn't even like from Wonder Woman itself. Like I had followed like Warner Bros. And like all that stuff and like DC, and I swear I wasn't getting the trailer from like DC, Warner Brothers, whatever. I was getting it from freaking HBO. Like the HBO channel was pushing it harder than like DC Comics or even like Gal Gadot, Patty Jenkins. I follow both of them too. And I just thought that was interesting.
Yeah, it totally flipped. Like it became like not its own movie. It was like like the only reason you should get HBO Max is like for this
It's like
movie.
to watch. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because all
Like
the other ones are supposed to come out on HBO as well. Because
oh
they
right,
did like a
right.
deal, Warner Brothers and HBO Max. Yeah.
Yeah.
So all of their movies that is Warner Brothers are supposed to come out on HBO Max now, in theaters and on HBO have like some simultaneous releases because of COVID and everything. And that's how. Because I remember, what's his face, Christopher Nolan was like really pissed with like Tenet and stuff. A lot of people were like really upset, but I mean, if no one's going to the movies, like you gotta do what you gotta do.
It kind of reminds me. I mentioned this to you before about how Lulu Wang, who wrote and directed The Farewell,
Hmm.
that was 2019 that it came
Yeah.
out. But she pushed for a theater release. She got an offer from a streaming service that she never disclosed, but she chose to take a deal that maybe wouldn't guarantee her as much money because she didn't want her film to become part of a brand. And I think that's a
Oh
perfect
yeah,
example right there because Wonder Woman
that's a good
definitely became like
example.
the HBO Max
It's
movie, and now all
HBO.
those movies are like the HBO Max releases. And her
Yeah.
movie could have
Same with
been
like Disney
the same.
Plus. Like I feel like Soul came out and it was, oh, tune into Disney Plus, and there's like all these Disney things, but you
Mm-hmm.
can't watch it unless you have Disney Plus. So, guess we'll find out what Warner Brothers and HBO Max are gonna be doing. I feel like that's the only reason both of them are kind of staying afloat right now. To be honest, like unless you're just like an indie movie slash television person like us, no one really watches that much on HBO Max. Like there's not like as much like mainstream. Like it's really gonna be um like what did they have?
They have like
They
Cartoon
had
Network stuff, but no,
yeah, they
you're
have
right.
that.
Exactly. It's like
Oh
what besides Wonder Woman? Like I know that they were just trying to
yeah,
get like they were
because
like
TV
exploiting it
wise,
basically.
TV wise, I think they had was Game of Thrones and
Oh,
the other one, Tessa Thompson.
I do not know TV.
It was dang, what a blank. It's
You can cut this out. You can cut this out. We'll just cut to when you remember.
I'm gonna remember it. I'll remember it.
Okay.
If I shout the name randomly throughout this podcast, you know what I'm talking about. Dang it. Westworld. It was Westworld.
Oh,
Those were the
right.
two like big HBO ones. And then well, technically they ended. I think they're doing like another they're doing another
Season.
yeah, they're doing like a sequel or something, or
Oh,
maybe
like a
they're
spin-off?
doing some type of spin-off
Okay.
for Game of Thrones.
Oh. Right.
That was rough.
But you remembered, and that's what matters.
Yes.
Now you won't have to edit as much. Just a little bit. Okay, so first impressions of the movie. I thought it would have been a lot better in a theater. It was really Hollywood with the explosions and the fight scenes and stuff.
Yeah.
It was kind of lackluster on like a TV screen. I don't
Yeah,
know,
I
what do you
definitely
think?
tuned out at some of the big like fight, like the one with the train. I low key like forgot, or not the train with like the big like when the cars, the giant trucks are like pushing together, and she has to like
Right,
push them out. I like
right. It's boring
completely forgot that
almost.
happened. Yeah.
No, exactly. But I thought it was enjoyable. Um, a lot of people brought up the fact that, and this I feel like is really not foreign to DC, or I don't watch as many Marvel movies, but I remember early Iron Mans did this too. Is they just have this obsession with like Middle Eastern stereotypes, and like there was like a scene
They
where like
really
there was
do.
someone like random Middle Eastern man like wishing for like missiles and like nuclear weapons, and like the way that she
Yeah.
like saves these like children that she like put in danger herself, and there's just like a lot of that sort of like propaganda stuff, which is really awkward and weird.
Yeah,
and is not uncommon for DC. Like I know in like
that's true.
Superman they were doing some weird stuff like that. In like an
Yeah.
Iron Man movie, I remember there's like weird, it's like same
Yeah,
sort
he
of thing.
like
So
goes to Iraq or something.
yeah, like
But the
some
funny
like
part was that in
vaguely.
Iron Man, they were his weapons that he created, and he was like, "What the
Was that
heck?"
the plot? I don't even remember. I
Yeah,
was like
that's like
10
the
at the time.
entire like reason I guess he becomes Iron, because it almost kills him, and it's his own bomb that he was selling technically like
Oh my
illegally
god.
to like the enemy.
That's
It was
so
like a whole thing.
stupid. Yeah, so that was
Yeah,
definitely a little an interesting it's kind of bad, but
yeah.
the
There's a lot
parts where
of
that wasn't happening, parts that got a lot of flack that I didn't I don't know, I didn't really think at the time were weird, was like that scene in the beginning where she's in the mall and she like saves that little girl's life and stuff like that. A lot of people hated those scenes because they thought they were
why.
corny.
I feel
They
like
were
they should
okay.
have kept that one and got rid of the like obstacle course. Like they didn't need that. They
Yeah.
could have just started from the mall. To be honest,
Yeah.
there was no reason for the obstacle course scene.
Yeah. It was it dragged on a lot for there to be no payoff later on. I thought it was
Yeah.
gonna come back and it never did. They never even talked about it.
just there for some reason, I
Like a
guess.
half an hour of that was a
Yeah.
little much.
I think when I first watched it, like I didn't mind anything. Like I was just kind of enjoying it. I liked it. I definitely liked I guess like the more parts that I resonated with were definitely towards the end of the movie. Um like specifically the scene where Diana is like she doesn't want to give up her wish because she like is the hero and that's like what she's supposed to do. I really liked that scene when I first watched it, and I really liked the scene towards the end when Max is talking to his son and his son's like, "Oh, Dad, you didn't need to like you don't need to be great for me to love you." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, what a great scene! I love it." And I really liked Barbara, but yeah, I didn't necessarily pick up on a lot of like things that I didn't like, except for I wasn't really that invested in like the beginning scene. Like it stopped, and I was like, why did they voice over that? Like where are we? And then the mall scene happened. There was like a little bit of like disconnection there, um, but I was like, I'm just gonna ignore it. And then when I watched it like the second time, that's when I kind of started to pick up more on like this movie's kind of all over the place, just a little bit. Like
Yeah.
didn't really feel connected. And I remember watching the first time, I was a little disappointed that there wasn't like a fight scene or anything, because we're very used to like seeing a fight scene. I feel like as an audience, we're used to having that like fight scene. And the fight scene was with Barbara, who wasn't the main villain. So it was a little weird that she didn't like fight the main villain ever, even though technically he's not really the villain. He was like the like it was like a concept, and I was a little confused. I was like, oh, they're gonna talk, and then I don't know. I feel like in the first movie, she like physically fought Ares, and it was weird that she didn't like fight the actual villain in this movie. I remember picking up on that, and I was like, that's odd. And then I completely ignored it and continued the movie. Oh, and I got super excited at the end with the cameo, um, with like Asteria, the original Wonder Woman cast. It was pretty cool. Yeah,
Right,
those are my
after
first
credit
thoughts.
scene. There's an after credit
Yeah,
scene,
there's an
everybody.
after credit scene.
Stay for it. Oh, but
Hopefully
nobody's
you're
going to the
not
theater,
watching
so
this if you've
I'm like,
hopefully you're
stay for
not
it.
watching
Stay on
this
your
if you
couch for
haven't
it, I
seen
guess.
it, because there's definitely spoilers.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert, this whole thing is gonna be very in-depth. We will talk about everything. Watch the movie first, so you've probably been spoiled already. I'm so sorry if you didn't know.
It's fine. We're good. We'll roll with it. We've talked about this before. I can't remember what movie we were talking about it with, and we talked about how women are given like internal struggles and like guys are given external struggles. Especially it's really apparent in superhero movies when guys, like you
Yeah.
said, they have like there's a physical like object or like being that is oppressing them, and they conquer
Yeah.
this being, and then they win and the movie's over. And it's always
Mm-hmm.
like for
They
women,
really just
they're
need to go to
dealing with
therapy.
something that is their own. It's either their fault or like their manifestation or their emotion.
Yeah, or
um
like someone else's like emotion towards them, and they're like, oh, well, they keep thinking this, so now I have to be extra tough on myself to not be like a stereotype or something. Hmm.
yeah, it's like weird struggles. It's like weird complicated struggles that like guys never have. And I think,
Yeah.
well, in um the first Wonder Woman, like you said, she was given sort of like something to conquer. But then in this one, I
Yeah.
feel like I don't know. There was a little bit of both. It was interesting, like how there was kind of like only an A story. Like there wasn't really like a B story going on. Maybe like the Barbara
Yeah.
one you could say is kind of like a little side plot, but then that one ends up becoming the A story as well. So
Yeah, there's no clear like this. It's
it's
a very
very muddled.
unclear movie. It's
Yeah.
very because there's also the whole thing with her trying to like fly, and her flying was like almost
Right.
more successful than her renouncing her wish.
All
And I was
right.
like, okay, that's fine, but
Yeah.
a little weird. Like I loved to see that Wonder Woman fly. I actually kind of forgot that she could fly, and then this movie was like, yeah, she flies in her invisible jet, and I was like, oh, that's right.
I forgot
And I
about the
literally
invisible jet.
just finished watching like cartoons about Wonder Woman. Like I knew she could fly and had an invisible jet, but I
Yeah.
completely forgot about it when it came to like the movies because they didn't even touch any of that in the first movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hold on.
Those are good.
I don't
Those
know.
are valid criticisms. There was something I was going to bring up. Oh, I can't remember. I wish I'd written it down. Oh, what was it? It was something that you said. What did you say earlier? You were talking about stuff that you liked. There was
About
something that I liked.
the dad or about Barbara. Actually, I was like more invested in Barbara than I was in Wonder Woman, to be honest. Like her entire like I guess like finding her confidence physically was way more interesting than watching Diana struggle over a man, to be honest.
And no, totally. Yeah. It was
Like,
kind of upsetting. Like, I mean, it's kind of cute that they were like a cute couple and that whole
yeah.
thing. I'm a little tired of storylines that like are about girls, but then this like suddenly there's randomly a guy involved. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Because,
It
like, in the
was
beginning of the movie, she's just, like, wandering around, and then she's talking to Barbara, and they're having a great conversation, and then for some reason they have to start talking about love, and then it's like, I loved a guy once. And I'm
right.
like, I get it. That's a very relatable feeling. Like, I feel like everybody has that feeling. Like, it's not specific to women, but it's like, we've seen it. We know. Like, you could have done something else.
Yeah, and it's not like I would say it's I think that for a movie that was trying to tackle such profound themes and like profound what would you call it? Like
Like,
trying to like
ideas.
discourse about like really intense morals and
Yeah.
like dichotomy of like the good but then also evil like within everybody and that kind of stuff. And I feel like it was kind of shallow for them to
Yeah.
be like, oh, her biggest struggle is yeah, she's
Like,
not over him and stuff. It felt like a
really?
cop out. I was like, that they could
It
have done
wasn't
something
like
like very extreme.
unsettlingly.
They
Yeah.
wasted a
Because I
really
would
good
have been
opportunity.
pissed, low key. I would have been pissed if my power was like seeping out of me and this other girl was getting it and
Yeah.
beating me up. Come
Yeah,
on. Are
I
you kidding
know.
me? I would have been so mad. I would have been like, how do I get stronger? Like, even if I wanted him, I would have been like
Mhm.
in the gym. Like, I would have been going back to like regular basics of like working out. Like, all right, I need to start training. Like, let's go. I'd have been like, yo, you're gonna be my sparring partner. Like, let's go. I gotta get stronger because apparently I'm losing my power. And I was like, she's just gonna like chill like that. Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, like that's all it took for her to like really like give up on things.
Yeah.
For a lot of people it took a lot more. I don't know. I think
Yeah.
yeah, they could have done something that really was profound. The way that they set
Yeah.
it up, the way that they again, there was no drawback to that first scene. They really could have made it profound where she revisits her, like, you know, that
Yeah, like,
because she
who is
never
she
even
talking to?
references it. She never talks about it. She never thinks about it. They could have
Yeah.
had her think about it a little bit or something.
Yeah, it was weird. It was like completely for the audience to be like, we're gonna set up the theme of the movie, which is like truth. But I feel
And it
like
didn't
they
even
could
do
have
that
done
very
that in
well.
a different way because she does it in a voiceover.
Uh-huh.
And then the voiceover ends, and then there's like credits or like the opening title scene, and then it goes into like the mall, and you're just like, who are you talking to? Like, what was that? Why?
Wait,
And
what
then
was the
like it
voiceover?
never goes back to like there's no time difference. Like it's just a random, like it's not even a flashback. It's just a random scene of her childhood for like basically no reason except to tell the audience something. Like they could have done that in the first scene where she like tells the little girl like, "Oh, like they could have easily integrated that into the mall scene instead of having a completely separate scene. Like I don't know if they were just running short on time or something, but like honestly, so unnecessary. So unnecessary. Like
Short on
because
time, but
the
it was
first
2.5
movie,
hours.
I know so much. That
So
movie
long.
actually felt really long the first time I watched it. I was like, dang, this is still going.
It did.
And that's probably why, is because it was so like there were the natural clocks I think that our bodies are used to when watching a movie. It didn't really follow that because there wasn't like a big fight scene at the end. It was way earlier in the movie, and then I don't know, it felt weird. And then there was like an after credit scene, and then the scene where she sees the guy again. And I was like, ah, we're still going on about this. Like it felt really long, and it's probably because they didn't really follow the natural like plot structure that like we're just used to as an audience. Um, yeah, it
Yeah,
was
I think about
really
it's like
odd.
40 minutes into the movie and you still don't know like what, like who the villain is. Like
Yeah.
40 minutes into the movie and you're still chilling. Like you're still in act 1. Like it's a long
Yeah,
fucking
it's
time.
weird. It's weird.
Yeah.
And then like I'll be honest, we've seen the movie like a couple times now, and I'm still confused as to who the real villain. Like I get that the villain was supposed to be the it was not a physical villain, but they sure
Exactly.
made it seem like it was Barbara, and then they sure made it seem like it was Max, and was like, actually, it's neither of them. It's this concept that we kind of address, but
Concept.
not really. Like, we told you that it was a thing, but yeah, the physical form was, these guys, and then, well, it had to not be a physical fight. So odd.
It was really odd. It was
Very
done really.
weird.
It had the potential. I think I can see what they were trying to do, but
Yeah.
it 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 really fell flat. Did
Yeah.
not hit
Very,
the
like,
mark.
disconnected.
Yeah.
um, Going back to Steve's character, I do like Steve. Really liked him in the first movie. He's like a great like I guess like male example to have in a film, and he's a great companion as a male to be like with a female in a movie because he never really overshadowed like any of the women in the movie, which I loved. I think his character is written really well. I don't really like how they utilized him because you were saying like, or I guess we've both mentioned that he's kind of just there. Like he doesn't really have any reason to be there other than to be like something for Diana to struggle internally for. Whereas like I feel like either I don't know, it's really weird how they bring in his character because he comes in and then they never address the fact that like he took over a guy's body.
Yeah. They do a
Like
little bit, but it's kind of
yeah, they
unethical.
it's like, is he dead? They don't know. They never asked that question. And then they were just completely fine with that being like reality. Like that was it. Like he's seen some things from like the first movie, but that's a little I feel like they accepted that a little too quickly. I feel like she shouldn't have trusted him that fast, to be honest. Especially if he doesn't look like him. She was just like, oh, it's Steve, and then we saw that it was Steve and we're like, but this man looks like a completely other man, and she was like, you are Steve. That's weird. But going
Yeah.
back to his character, I guess.
On the first watch, I didn't really think about it. I was like, "Oh, I guess that makes sense." I don't know.
Oh my gosh, me and my brother both looked at each other and were like, are they not gonna talk about the fact that they like killed a dude? Maybe.
I mean,
Like he's
at
like
the end, they
dead.
show him alive,
He's
so
fine.
Yeah, I guess it's okay.
Did we
But
even know
then,
that guy's name?
no, does he have a name?
I don't remember.
I can look it up. Guy
Oh
in
my
Wonder Woman
goodness.
that Chris Pine is in.
Chris Pine takes over.
Chris
I
Pine's
always
face the whole
did
time is so bad.
appreciate that Chris Pine's character in both the first and the second movie. They do this trope twice, and I love this trope. I will always love this trope where he's like fighting. It's like a normal human fighting someone, like there's punching, and then the like superhero with all the powers is going through like 7 times the people, and he's still like fighting the one guy. I don't know why I find that funny. I will always find it funny. Doesn't matter if the movie's good or bad. I will always find it funny.
He's like a little puppy, like helping.
Great.
Okay,
Like,
get this. The guy that he takes over, his name in the credits is Handsome Man. Handsome Man.
Handsome Man.
Played by Christopher Polaha? Or Polaha?
To be honest, I didn't think he was that handsome. Not my type, really. You can't have Chris Pine in a movie and then name the other guy Handsome Man.
There he is.
Like, Chris Pine's the better looking one.
Okay. Save it for the fuck, marry, kill corner. Okay.
FMF.
So we'll do Chris Pine, we'll do Handsome Man, and then Steve, we'll use his character name. Steve, Handsome Man, and then
Pedro.
What?
Max.
And then and then Max. Yeah. Perfect. Okay.
Which one?
That's a good one.
That's gonna be tricky.
Do you want to do?
We'll think about it.
Yeah.
We'll think about that one for a little bit longer.
Let's both do it. Do you want to do it too?
Let's both do it?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'll do it. That's fun.
Yeah.
I'll go basically just off of aesthetics.
That's valid. Like outfits or like.
No. That's not fair. Because they had the same wardrobe, Steve and Handsome Man. He didn't have any other clothes.
Oh yeah,
he had Handsome Man's clothes.
That's true. Yeah.
That's not fair to them.
That's true.
Maxwell wears a suit and he's sweaty half the time.
That's true. Well, I mean, you know,
I'd
still
really do like sweaty, sickly looking.
I'd still hit it. That's fine. You can have your.
Speaking of Maxwell,
yeah,
his character, like Pedro Pascal, did a great job playing him. Great job. He probably, between him and Kristen Wiig, I think those two, their acting probably carried the movie. Because I'm gonna be honest, like, I've never thought that Gal Gadot was like a great actress, but she's perfect for like DC kind of stuff because she's got that like corny, like, she almost has that like cartoony type feel to her. So I do like her as Wonder Woman. I just like this is kind of her like niche. I think that she could like kind of be is like the, like, she kind of plays that like nice little cartoony, like corny, pretty, but also like funny. Like she does those like really well. But I've never thought that she's like an amazing actress. But Kristen Wiig, I was really impressed with, and then Pedro Pascal I was really impressed with. They really kind of carried this movie. To be
I feel like the movie
skills.
was almost a disservice to Pedro Pascal. Like he went all in.
He went so hard.
So hard.
The movie was like, his acting was too good for this movie.
I totally agree. Yeah.
I liked his character too. Like I thought it was interesting, and I feel like this is again part of the like disconnected feel because his character was super, I feel like they had a lot of depth, and then with him becoming the stone, which also plot as a plot point is like a really weird thing to just throw in. Like his wish was to become a rock, not to be like the most powerful or to be like, I'm gonna grant, like he wanted to become the talisman. I don't really get it. Maybe it's a comic book thing.
Yeah.
I was like, why do you want to become a rock? And then I just immediately dismissed it the first time I watched it. But the second time I was like, that doesn't actually make any sense to me. Why you would want to become a rock. But other than that, and the whole like, dang it, I started this off talking about how I liked his character and now I'm about to like rip it apart. There was a little bit of like a rule breaking type thing a lot with his character as to whether or not like if he's a stone and someone wishes. Like there are a lot of times where he's like, I need your wish, and then they would wish, and then like it's supposed to be that they don't get another wish. Like he had this thing where he would go up to one guy and he was like, did I what's your greatest wish in the world? And then he said it. And then he's like, did I already ask you what your wish was? And then he was like, yeah, you asked me yesterday. I got a new like Tesla or something like that. It wasn't a Tesla, but it was some kind of car.
Oh, we have
And
to cut
then
that
he's like,
out.
dang
Tesla's
it.
gonna
And he
sue
has
us.
to move on to like another guy to get like the wish. But then like in the plane when he's talking to Barbara, that's Barbara's second wish from like The Rock. So I don't know why she got her second wish fulfilled. And then there's like another scene before that when he's talking to his son, and his son's like, I just wish that you were great, Dad. And then he's like, no, don't wish for that. And like the wind blows, show you that like a wish was made, but then like nothing happens. I was a little confused.
Yeah, like
confused.
he takes something from everybody, but then it
Yeah.
wasn't clear what he took from his son, if he took anything.
Yeah.
Which was weird.
And I know you tried to explain this to me earlier, but I still don't really understand why he needed everyone's wish to like heal if it also made him physically sick the whole time.
Well, at this point, I don't know if it even is worth anything to defend it. This is definitely, to me, textbook Hollywood movie. They get you to suspend your disbelief while you're in the theater, and it's not meant to be watched a second time. And movies like this honestly make me value good movies that much more. Movies that I can watch a second or third time or fourth time and they hold up and I notice new things, and it only deepens my connection and my emotions for it rather than makes me hate it. Because definitely the first time I watched it, I was like, this is really good, da da da. Watched it again and I was like, you know what, this actually wasn't that good. It's a little so I don't know, like,
things I guess that didn't make sense to me, but I did like the whole, I feel like if they had just stayed along the lines of him trying to be great to impress his son, like that whole thing, I feel like if they just stayed with that, it would have worked out really well.
Yeah, it got out of hand pretty quickly.
Yeah, it kind of veered off course.
Yeah,
because it started with being about his son, and then it like wasn't about his son, it was about being great, and then it went back to being about his son when he like renounces his wish.
Yeah,
and I was like, wait, so what is it? Like, I'm so confused.
I would argue it didn't even need to be that big. They went way too big, I think, on this.
Yeah,
they really didn't have to go as grandiose as like he wants to like take over the world and stuff. They really didn't even have to do that for him to be villainous or for him to be scary. It didn't have to be that big.
Would have seen him just
the child neglect was scary enough. Like,
I know, he should just like left the kid and it was like, where's my son? And we're like,
so they could have kept it really wrapped up and neat, but I guess, you know, blockbusters, they want it big. They gave her the budget and she took it and ran. So I respect the hustle, but it wasn't good.
It wasn't that good.
Yeah.
And then Barbara's character, I loved Kristen Wiig's acting in this. I actually thought she did a great job because audience members, I feel like, don't really know her for having a more serious role. And I know she's done other roles that aren't like strict comedy movies, like it's kind of like action adventure comedy, but she's always kind of played the comic relief. And I really like she got to play like a not comic relief character in this one because I feel like she was kind of pigeonholed in that comedy thing because she was big from like SNL and Bridesmaids. And I thought she did a great job. I'm a little upset that her character wasn't like more utilized because they kind of just like don't ever go back to her character after her fight with Diana. Like they show like one sequence and she's just mumbling. She doesn't even say actual words. And then you never see her again, especially if the beginning of the movie they set them up to be friends. And so it was a little weird that they stopped becoming friends so fast. Like I know Diana was like, I'm holding back my punches, I don't want to actually hurt you kind of a thing, like just pronounce your wish. But it seemed a little odd that I guess like she wasn't trying harder to be like friendly to her. Like they were very like, that's a very surface level. Like that seems like if you're watching like a zombie film or like a zombie movie or something and people meet on the first day, like first episode, maybe episode 2, they're like, okay, I just met you, we need to survive, you're really good at like catching deer and I'm really good at fighting the zombies. So you go catch the deer, I'll fight the zombies. Like it seemed like that shallow of a friendship type of a thing. Like I only need you to survive type of a thing. Like we're the only two women here, so we have to like each other. It kind of felt like that. Except for like when they were talking with each other and like when they saved her, like I actually thought they were gonna be legit friends, and then immediately, as soon as the powers came in, um, as soon as like the whole like she basically Diana basically drops Barbara to go and like save the world kind of a thing, and then Barbara's completely a part of saving the world and that whole deal, and she never like they don't really have a conversation about real things other than just for like the plot. Like every other conversation after that is rounds your wish, you're better than this, you're humanity. And then Barbara's just like, you're not gonna take this away from me. You're so used to having things. And I was like, I don't like that.
I know
I
that's
don't
what's
like this
unfortunate is
discourse.
it really felt like that like tropey like women
Yeah.
characters. Like they were like, here's the popular girl, and then here's the
Yeah.
nerdy girl, and
And I was
they
like,
hate
girl.
each other. Like, okay, we've seen that
Like,
a lot. A lot of these
and
things were
then,
just tropes. So
yeah. And like
yeah,
at the beginning when they're like talking and hanging out, I legit like I was like, oh my gosh, are they about to date? Like, are they about to kiss right now? Like they
yeah,
set it up so well, and then they just dropped it, and I was
yeah,
like, okay, like
yeah,
they had way more like chemistry, more like friendship type, actual bonding experience in the first like what like 30 minutes of the movie,
yeah,
and then as soon as the turning point of the plot happens, it's just downhill.
yeah.
It wasn't great. I didn't like that. I just scrunched my nose if you're listening.
Oh, are we gonna
Just
put
made a
it like
very
on
angry
audio
face.
stuff and on like?
Yeah.
Okay, 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 okay. That's cool. That's cool. That's cool. Okay, I'm good. Okay, because we're at 37. If you want to do your fashion thing.
Yeah, I don't really have anything else to say about the movie itself. Like those are my main things about the movie. But it was an 80s like vibe. Oh, I didn't really get a lot of 80s vibes except for like the opening scene, the scene where Barbara goes and works out, and like when they showed like the television cassette thing with the TV set, and it was all old school. I didn't really get any other like 80s feel from it. Like you can watch a Stranger Things and it'll be like a wide shot of like trees and a kid riding down the street, and you'd be like, that's an 80s television show like immediately. This one didn't have the same like 80s vibe, but their outfits were amazing. And so I'm going to use it as a segue to talk about my fashion bit. Serena's fashion bit.
Do
do do do do. Um, yeah, I really like the fashion in this one. All of Diana's outfits are pretty much amazing. My favorite one is the one that she wears after she takes Steve. They're like going through the train subway station or whatever, and they're on the escalator, and she's got like the coat and like the vest and like the collared shirt and like the high waist pants, and it's so sleek, so clean. Love that fit. She's also completely right about the outfit with the scarf that Steve hated, that handsome man says that he likes later. That's a good outfit. You should, yes, he should have worn that outfit. He shouldn't have been mad about it. It looked way better than what fanny pack he chose. Okay. Um, Barbara, however, she has some cool outfits, and probably the most consistent thing of the movie is her arc with her character by wearing the outfits. Like there was more consistency in how her character like physically changed throughout the movie than probably anything else in the movie, if I'm gonna be honest. Because when it opens, or when you first see her, you see her and she's like walking and she's kind of like really covered up, right? And she never really wears anything that isn't like, I guess, like quote unquote modest. Like there isn't anything that shows a lot of skin, but she comments on someone's heels and they're like cheetah print, and she goes, oh, I love those are so cute. And then throughout the movie, as she like kind of turns into this character, the villain cheetah, she wears more like animal print things, and her outfits get a lot more elaborate and like fancier, because there's the outfit. She starts wearing heels first, and then she's like, oh, I can move around in heels, this is awesome. She's like, going through and like men are talking to her and she's like, "Oh, leave me alone," which is like a very real feeling. I get that feeling a lot. Leave me alone. But there's a scene when they go and they talk to the like shaman guy, the one guy that knows about the stone and like the civilization, and she's wearing this like fur jacket, and I was like, that's a fit. That fit was amazing.
It was.
And I was like, that's so cool. But she consistently just gets like cooler outfits throughout the movie, whereas like Diana is wearing like outfits that are super cool in the beginning of the movie, and then as soon as they go to the Middle East or whatever, she gets this like jumper, and I swear she wore that outfit for so long. And I was like, why is she wearing this one outfit? It felt like forever
Would you
that she was
say,
wearing that outfit.
do you think it would be linked to Barbara gaining power and then Diana losing power?
Maybe that could be it, because it felt like it was really weird. I was like, Diana feels a lot less like, cool sexy Diana.
That's
So
probably
maybe
why.
that's what it is.
Yeah, that's probably
And I was
why.
like, interesting. Because
They did
then
one
when
cool
she gets her
thing in
power
this
back, she
movie.
gets that cool Asteria, like the golden like bird thing. And then like Barbara's just a straight up animal. She's just like cheetah.
That's like the predator, and then Wonder Woman
Yeah.
is like the prey, the bird,
Mm.
right? That was kind of cool.
That scene was a little confusing to me too,
Right.
actually. I think I talked to you about this earlier, but the the whole fact that Barbara got her second wish was to become number one and like be an apex predator, and then Wonder Woman renounces her wish and she gets her like regular powers back. It doesn't make any sense that Diana should have won that battle, or that she
True.
was like Barbara was taken down by electricity of all things if Diana wasn't, because Barbara's
She just
supposed to be number
better.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, that doesn't make any sense. And like, it was such a short fight. Ugh.
Wonder Woman 84, more like plot holes, and there's 84 of them.
Yikes.
That can be the title.
But yeah, that's
of
all
this.
I have for my fashion bit. That's all I wanted to talk about.
Do-do-do.
That's it.
More importantly, now we're gonna talk about
Oh yeah, the men.
who in this movie. Yeah, but men specifically, because like we're trying to respect women here. So even
Yes,
though I'm
we're gonna
gay
respect women.
and Serena's ace, we're gonna rate men, and the way that we're gonna rate them is we're gonna fuck one, marry one, and then friend zone one.
Yeah, you know that works. Also, it's
Yeah.
funny because like neither of us are straight.
Yeah.
Like, I'm asexual. So my attraction is based like purely off of aesthetics personally. And then Victoria, your identity. She's like, I'm gay.
So this will be fun.
She
Today
pointed
we're gonna
to
do
her pride flag in the background. If
What happened?
you're listening to this and not, she pointed to her pride flag in the frame. If you're listening and not watching this.
Oh, I'm forgetting that we're gonna do it just audio.
That's okay. It's the first one.
You're right. You have to cut this out.
It's fine. It's fine. Okay, do you want to go first?
Yes, I really do. Okay, because okay, for this movie, we are going to be categorizing Steve, Chris Pine, Maxwell Lord, Pedro Pascal, and then handsome guy, played by
Handsome man.
Christopher something.
That's his
Christopher
name, as we've
Polaha?
established.
Polaha? I got it off of
Polaha.
Letterboxd. I would fuck Chris Pine. I would. He's fine. And period. I think I would marry Pedro Pascal.
Wait, are we going based off of their actors or their characters?
Well, Steve is as hot as Chris Pine. So,
That's true.
period.
But like, I, being an asexual, am gonna also take into account their personalities.
Okay, then you can pick. Yeah, because honestly,
Okay.
Pedro Pascal, like, in the movie, like, okay, because what Maxwell Lord is his character,
Mm-hmm.
Basically the shittiest husband possible. He's divorced. He doesn't give a fuck about his kid. He
Oh,
sucks.
it's not
I would
looking
marry
too good
him.
for
He's
you.
very marryable, I
Handsome
think.
man seemed very nice at the end.
Nah, I'm gonna friend zone that guy. I'm gonna friend zone that bitch. Nah. He's boring. He looks boring as fuck, so nah. He's the type of guy that I'd be like at 2 a.m. I'd be like, yo, you up? And then he'd text me
Yeah.
back at 8 a.m. and he'd be like, oh no, I was asleep. How's your day? And I'd be like, you know what? Fuck you, because I was trying to get some dick and then you just didn't, you motherfucker. So that's the kind of bitch he looks like. So fuck no, I friend zone that guy.
Sleeping at 2 a.m. like a normal person.
Yeah, fuck that. No way, because you already know Steve would text you back. He would have your ringtone on up so high, and he'd be like,
goodness.
I'm on the way.
That's why I'd marry Steve. I would only have sex with handsome man one time. And then
once.
if I had sex with people, I would have sex with him one time. And then
just to try it.
Maxwell, I'd friend zone him, and it would be one of those friend zones where it's like, you think we're friends, but we're definitely not friends.
Damn.
You have those.
That's
like,
my
guys.
husband. Oh. You're rude.
The disrespect. But that's
dinner parties are gonna be awkward because I'm gonna roll up with him and you're gonna be like, bitch.
Look, he thinks you're friends. I just put up with him because I love you, not him.
Okay, that's fair.
That's how that would go down.
Let us know in the comments who you would FMF.
Actually, yeah, that would be really fun. I would love to know. Men, if you're watching this or you're listening to this and you also want to take part in our FMF, please. That'd be so much fun.
Yeah. We should have like polls and then like every week be like, here's who
like
won. Whatever.
Here was the best one.
The most fuckable, the most marryable, and the most friend-zonable.
The results for FMF for this movie.
Yeah.
That's so funny. Oh my goodness.
So now I have to read off my script again for this next part. To close off our film talk and our film analysis, we're going to discuss how this film passes the Bechdel test, if it does at all. And for those unfamiliar, I'll give a bit of background on the test. It was conceived by American cartoonist and graphic novelist Alison Bechdel in the 1980s as a measure of representation of women within a fictional work. There are 3 parts to the test. 1, it should feature 2 female characters. 2, the female characters should talk to each other. And 3, their conversation should be about something other than a man. Very bare minimum, but even with just the small criteria, many films don't pass. Mm-hmm. Not to make it impossible for us, but I like to add a little subtest to the first part and say that the 2 female characters need to be named. So for the purposes of our discussion, in order for the film to pass, it needs to have 2 named female characters who talk about something other than a man.
Yeah, it can't be like drunk girl number 1, drunk girl number 2. I know we made handsome man a character in this, but like for the Bechdel test, he would not be considered a character.
Yeah, so if it's like
Bechdel
whatever,
test plus
girl, whatever, then that doesn't count. She needs a name.
Sorry.
Yeah, this movie's great because it passes like immediately, which is amazing. Yeah, like,
right off the bat.
So really rare. Cool.
Yeah, that is really rare. I can't think of a movie off the top of my head that like is this mainstream of a movie that passes like immediately, that isn't like a rom-com or something.
Yeah, like even Birds of Prey, how did that one start? She's talking about the Joker. So that one like
shoot, you're really... right. Yeah, she immediately starts talking about the guy. Huh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, so there really isn't a lot, but this one's really great because I think that she has a conversation when she's young and she's about to run the course and they say you're too young, da da da. That's a conversation. And it was like that. It was she had a name. I don't know her name, but the woman who's
the general.
Her, yeah, I think she did. Let me make sure before we like.
They talk. She's the one that tells them like, or that tells her like, you cheated, you don't win, and that's the truth, Diana. You have to be able to accept that, kind of a thing. And she was in the first movie too. I loved her character. She's also played by the lady that did Princess Buttercup in The Princess Bride. So I always thought that was really fun because she's still doing stuff that's cool.
Aww.
But yeah,
Oh
I
yeah,
think that's the first
Antiope.
time. And if it's not, then it's her talking to Diana's mom about her being able to pass or like finish the course so that she's gonna be fine.
Yeah. So it does. It
Yeah,
definitely does pass in that first scene, which is
yeah.
cool.
And I think like Barbara and Diana talk about work and just about life before they even talk about love and like men really. They talk
Yeah.
more about their job and their interests and their passions before they talk about men. So I do like that about this one. Even though their like friendship kind of went downhill, their like beginning was really good.
Yeah, I think so too. I think that's why I felt like that there was chemistry. I felt that same
Yeah.
thing. That
They
there was
had so
something
much
between
chemistry in the
them because it
beginning.
was deeper than like because Barbara wasn't a utility in the same way that like Steve was a utility.
Yeah, yeah.
She was like her
Barbara had
own
more depth.
person. They were able to give her like fluff dialogue, which was nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she had like meaningful dialogue.
Yeah.
All right, so I guess now it's time to like score the movie. So you said 10 out of 10 is like it's a perfect movie. 5 is kind of like the cutoff between I watch it because it's fun to watch, not because it's actually a good movie. And then 1 is like, I'm not going to watch it again. This wasn't good.
Yeah, like
Also, it sucked.
one watch like was a
That's
mistake.
all I needed.
That's one.
It was a mistake. Didn't even finish the movie.
Exactly, yeah.
So I guess I'd probably give it like a 6 personally because I would watch it again. I would just have to make sure that I'm like not gonna pay attention to it that much because there were scenes that I did like. I thought it was fun. I can kind of just zone out and like watch the movie and enjoy it. If someone else was like, "Oh, do you want to watch Wonder Woman?" I'd be like, "Yeah, sure, I don't care." Which isn't like a high rating. It's not a 5 though. I think it's a little bit better than like there's elements of it plot wise that I like a little bit more than just it was cute kind of a thing.
I feel that. I would probably, yeah. I'm between like 5.5. Definitely,
Yeah.
it's like a put in the background while you clean your house movie for
Put on
noise.
for the kids in the house. If there's like kids around, I'd put this movie on to entertain them.
Yeah.
And then maybe come in at my favorite parts and watch over their shoulders and then go back to whatever I was doing.
Yeah, the only reason I would give it like a 5 is because it's like there were parts I liked. I really did like Barbara's character, and I liked that chemistry. The way it was written was cool, even though it didn't really have payoff. And yeah, there were a lot of cool scenes, even though they were spliced together ineffectively. They were good individually. So if it had been poorly executed individually, I would have given it less, I think. But
Yeah.
because I liked them sort of like by themselves, there's like some enjoyment. So like 5.5, I think.
So I guess we mentioned we were also going to mention movies similar to it. I know Victoria has some picked out already, but I can only think of like DC movies. Like if you liked this movie, other good DC movies are obviously the first Wonder Woman, but then Shazam I thought was also a really good one. I think Shazam personally I think is a little bit better than this one. You might like Shazam though if you liked this movie. If you haven't seen it or given any thought to like DC and this was like the first DC movie you watched, try out Shazam. That one was pretty fun. That was a fun movie.
And they're making a second one.
Oh.
So if you like getting invested in series, you can watch the second Shazam when that comes out. The other ones that I was going to recommend, so the first Wonder Woman as well, I would also recommend because honestly I think it's better, even though I'm not a Marvel fan. Captain Marvel I thought was really good. A lot of the things that we said Wonder Woman lacked, Captain Marvel, that one is directed by Ryan Fleck and Anna Boden, so also a woman director, and that one's 2019. It had like that sort of like physical conflict.
Yeah, she like physically. That was a fun, and it was like intertwined, so it wasn't just her own emotions. It was the fact that like she was like, "But I'm strong. Why not?" kind of a thing, and I liked that struggle a lot more than I'm gonna give up my powers because handsome man.
Handsome man, Steve.
They're the same, I guess.
Yeah. But the Captain Marvel's another like big Hollywood blockbuster one, so you get a lot of like that noise and action scenes and stuff if that's what you're a fan of. And then also I would recommend the film Atomic Blonde, director David Leitch, 2017, with Charlize Theron, because that one is another like kick-ass women protagonist. It's not directed by a woman, but
that one
if you
is
like
fun.
it when women kick ass, then you would really like that movie. And that one has
we should talk about that one.
Queer scenes on screen, so that's a really good one.
It's a really good movie. And then I guess in that regard, on Netflix, The Old Guard, also Charlize Theron.
Oh yeah.
That one's also, I believe, has a female director, black female director actually, black female main character, co-starring with Charlize Theron. Is another really great. It's based off a comic book called The Old Guard, about immortals and their whole struggle with that. Great fight scenes, really good action sequence. Really like that movie too. Yeah. Wow. We did it. This is our first podcast episode. We just finished it. That's crazy.
Like our 100th attempt. But I actually like this one. I think this is the one.
Yeah.
Not to get crazy,
but thank you guys for listening or watching, whatever you're consuming this content on. We really appreciate it. Hopefully you liked it. Continue to watch them. We're definitely going to try and do this. I didn't say bi-weekly, bi-monthly.
Yeah, like twice a month.
Every 2 weeks. We're going to try to do this every 2 weeks. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. Please continue listening. And
if you have recommendations, you can give them to us.
Yeah, if you're watching this and you can comment, or I don't know if you can leave comments on like a podcasting site or anything, but if you have like movies that you would recommend for us to watch, we would love to watch them and love to give you guys reviews on them. So yeah, I guess thank you for listening again. If you made it this far, we really appreciate you. Yeah, have a great and lovely rest of your day. Bye.
Yay!